Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to PSGL. It is time for Formula 2 here at the Mexican Grand Prix. How you all doing? My name is Jay Morris, and I'll be taking you through the action here. No Logan, unfortunately, tonight because Logan is commentating for Tier 1. So good luck, Logan. Hopefully you're here in the comment section as we'll see the drivers then come out on the circuit to see what they can do. There is 2 races left so far this season, and it is looking very, very good so far for the Aston Martin boys. What can they do? We've got a few newcomers here tonight as well, including Jensen. Jensen came from F4. I do believe F4 and Ralphie as well in ETA P5. So let's see then how they do. We know Jensen can be a very quick driver on his day as well. We've seen him plenty of times. He's been a league racer for the past God knows how many years. But we'll see then how it does. And the first ones on the circuit is our championship leaders of Aston Martin then. So let's see what they can do. They've been looking very strong so far in the last couple of races. Can they keep their form up? Because their form so far in the last few races have been incredible to watch as well. So let's see then how they all do as they make their way now towards this twisty middle sector. Of course, they're on the outlap stage. So it's a mad dash out of the pit lane. And unfortunately, Hazara has retired from this race as well. Hazara was lacking pace back at the Singapore Grand Prix. Him and his teammate had bad luck, especially Ite Lawrence, as he unfortunately retired in the wall at turn 7 because I think his wheel disconnected. So it was a shame there for Ite Lawrence as the Dutchman had to suffer with wheel issues. Here we are then out of the Nigel Mansell corner as we make our way now on to the main straight then. Here we go with the DRS wide open. As you can see, the ERS being used. Actually, I should turn that off as we make our way down towards turn 1, number 1 then, looking for your braking point. Let's see where he brakes just at the 100-meter board, down to the gears, and takes a lot of curve through turn 1, in turn 2 and turn 3. It's all about getting a good flow through here. And look at that massive wheel spin on the exit of turn 3 as the car just wanted to complain and wander away from him as we head down towards turn 4. Then let's see how he takes this apex. It's a 90-degree left-hander heading towards turn 5, and as you can see, massive instability to the rear end there as well. So looks like a lot of these guys are retiring. I think it's because the lobby settings are not correct, because all these guys are supposed to be ghosted and they're not. So I think a lobby restart will be required around here, which gives me which is quite good for me, but not as for the drivers, because obviously Nico Rassenberg admitting his mistake there by not turning off ghosting or turning on ghosted for this qualified session. But the reason why we have ghosted on is because it avoids 5-place grid penalties, unnecessary 5-place grid penalties. So hopefully all these drivers can retire immediately so we don't have to waste any time whatsoever. So all these drivers then retiring from the session. I'm still trying to get some information up because I had it all in my hands, but unfortunately I lost it. So let's see then where it is. And here we go then for the F2 drivers standings. So after round 7 in Singapore, it is Finley who leads the championship by 9 points. What an amazing gap he's got over Fraser. It's Aston Martin 1-2. So Aston Martin are looking very strong so far, as Christian does a 30.3, but that's a good banker to see what he could do in the next qualifier session, as Fraser's P2 with 55 points. Behind us is Hazara with 53. He's 2 points behind Fraser. In 4th place is Christian with 46. He scored a podium back at the Singapore Grand Prix after a good run as well. Yanil in 5th in the Williams with 43, 3 points behind Christian. E.T. Lawrence, unfortunately, in 6th place with 41 points. Now, Lawrence was looking very strong, especially back in the first race in Bahrain. He looked like a real contender, but unfortunately mistakes were made along the way, and plus unnecessary incidents involving his wheel as well, because back in the Singapore Grand Prix is when his wheel disconnected, and back in Silverstone as well when he was running in 2nd place. Unfortunately made contact, I believe, with one of the Aston Martins, which was Finley on that day. And we've got Tallers in P7 with 28 points. Tallers hasn't turned up in the last 2 races, but he did score a podium back at the Brazilian Grand Prix. I think at his home Grand Prix as well. As Tom is 8 in the Mercedes. He's a regular top 10 finisher, but he did score a podium back at the British GP as well, as all the drivers then have retired and some have left the session then. So let's see what information we are getting to see what we're going to do through this session then. So Nico there forgetting to turn ghosted on. It happens. It does happen from time to time, and nobody's perfect, of course. So, yeah, don't be bashing him too much because obviously mistakes can be made. As the light's about to go away, then, but of course, all these drivers will retire for a lobby restart, and we can see then all these drivers will retire. So 19 drivers in this session. Not a bad turnout, especially for Mexico. I can't wait to see what happens here in Mexico because you got that DRS zone. You got two DRS zones as well as the VSCs came out. But you got two DRS zones around here. And of course, it's a long run out of the final corner heading down towards turn 1. Last season in PSGL, we saw 3 adverse moments as well between, I think it was at the time, Casper Flack and Talus as well. So a lot of side-by-side action can happen going down towards turn 1, including Liam Lawson and Sergio Perez as well back in last year, 2024. Sebastian Vettel versus Max Verstappen down towards turn 1 versus Lewis Hamilton. And Hamilton went off the track, didn't he, 2016 in turn 1. He just plainly went off the track at turn 1. Cutting the lawnmower, the expensive Mercedes back then. But there are your classifications then. But hopefully the real thing can happen very soon. This is boiling tonight as well. I thought it was a bit cold, but it is a bit hot out here, so I need to take my jumper off because I'm absolutely boiling tonight as well. The weather in the UK has been absolutely amazing for the past 2 weeks, but I dare say that could change as well because obviously, in order to have good weather, it has to rain as well because I think the moisture vaporizes up into the air, and that's when you get rain, etc. Obviously, a bit of science for you because the heat comes down. And yeah, I'm not going to explain it anymore. But anyways, we're back in the qualified session, and let's see then what happens. This is such a close championship between both Aston Martins. There is 2 races left to go this season, and I can't wait to see what happens. Will both Aston Martins work together? Obviously, I don't think they will, but in the race, keep everybody behind because they've got some great pace so far. And we know that Fraser was the one that won the Singapore Grand Prix. What a fantastic race it was from Fraser to lead the whole Grand Prix, keep it nice and controlled, and not be put under pressure, especially when the safety car came out in the last few laps of the Grand Prix when Lawrence was the one that caused the safety car because his wheel disconnected. But what a fantastic race from Fraser. Can he keep it up here as well as the session is about to go underway very shortly then? I wish I was a commentator by myself because once again I am ill, and so do apologise if you hear me struggling to speak throughout the event. It is very hard to speak, especially when you're by yourself, so I'll try and do my best, but the session is about to go underway very shortly and qualifying can commence to see who will take pole around here, around this race circuit. Indeed, there's good stuff indeed. We're just waiting for the timer to tick down to 0. This track first introduced back in 1963, but unfortunately for this track, it lost its bragging rights, and it returned in 2015 after a long period away. And I think Nico Rosberg was the one that won the 2015 Mexican Grand Prix. Hamilton was second because after USA, Hamilton won his 3rd championship in 2015. Rosberg went on a winning streak after that because he won 7 races in a row, including 3 from 2015 towards the end of the season and 4 at the beginning. So that was the start of Rosberg's campaign in terms of the championship because Rosberg lost twice in a row and he was pretty eager to win his 3rd championship as well here, well not here, but in 2016. Then, of course, in 2015, it was a double Ferrari DNF because Sebastian Vettel retired out of turn number 8, I believe it is, at the start of the middle sector. The Kimi Raikkonen and Valtteri Bottas made contact at turn number 4, which resulted as a double DNF for Ferrari, the worst ever. Has Ferrari won since 2015 around this circuit? I don't think they have. Yes, Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz did last year in 2024. So what a fantastic drive for Carlos Sainz. I thought this track was suited to Ferrari, but it seems like Red Bull have had the upper hand in the last few seasons here. Remember 2017 when I think it was Verstappen who won the Grand Prix because Hamilton and Vettel made contact going down towards turn 1. And I think they were fighting for a fourth championship. No, fifth championship was Lewis Hamilton at the time as well. Go for 5, Sebastian Vettel versus Lewis Hamilton. I think Hamilton won the championship, but obviously he didn't score on the podium that day because he was too far behind. So Hamilton won the championship despite being so far behind. And his incredible battle with Fernando Alonso as well, because Alonso was in that terrible McLaren Honda at the time, and Alonso did really well to defend for Hamilton for a few laps, but that battle ended prematurely because obviously the Mercedes versus the McLaren Honda was a completely different beast as well, as Fernando Alonso called the car a GP2 engine, or called the engine a GP2 engine, sorry. But once again, the first one out on the circuit is the Aston Martin of Fraser then. So here is our last week's race winner, as he does in the validate on the exit. Don't want to be doing that in the real thing, of course. But here we go then. Fraser is about to take us through away on a lap. So as we open up the lap, we saw Lawrence Stroll, we saw Valtteri Bottas crash here as well, back in 2021 for Stroll and 2019 for Valtteri Bottas. So here we are on board with the Aston Martin as the rear wing opens, heading down towards turn 1. 4.3 kilometre circuit as we go down towards the first corner. Look at that, very nice through there, and tight as well, going through turn 2 and turn 3, and a little bit, well, not the way he want to take it, absolutely flat out, but here we go then down towards turn 4. Looking at the 100-metre board, braking very hard in a straight line, down to the gears once again, clipping the apex very nicely as we flick our way now towards this right-hander. We go, another 90-degree corner, headed down towards turn 6 and turn 7. Look at that, using the curves very nicely, back in the power once again as we head towards turn 8. We saw Sebastian Vettel spin here, but he absolutely flying in this little sector, just threading the needle. Great change of direction around this racetrack. No signs of the rear end stepping out, of course, as we head down towards this right-hander, turn 13. This can catch a lot of people out, especially in the exit when you run out too wide if you miss your braking point. But here we go down towards the stadium section. Unfortunately, Fraser takes too much curb and he invalidates his lap time then. So that lap time for Fraser will have to come back in the pit lane and go once again. We've got an RB making his way towards the line. Is that Lucas in P2? It is Lucas. Lucas sets the benchmark of a 13.3 as Alex Marciano goes quickest with a 13.2 as Finley, our championship rival, settles into P3. It's Nico Rosberg. Lawrence goes quickest now with a 13.2, only 5 thousandths quicker than Nico in P2. Such fine margins as a Van goes up into P3. Van was fighting for a podium back in the Singapore Grand Prix until he picked up that penalty towards the Grand Prix. But these lap times are coming in thick and fast. Emerson Parlers, P7 now. Tom replaces him towards P7. We've got both McLarens of Christian and Zane about to make their way towards the line. What's Christian going to do? Christian puts his McLaren into P7, and next across the line is Zane. By the way, haven't mentioned this just yet, but welcome to the newcomers of ILT Phil, and I think Rafi as well, and also Jensen. Here goes Zane. Zane puts his McLaren just ahead of Christian in P7 there. So those lap times came in thick and fast, and you can definitely tell who was the one that struggled the most as well, because some of them unfortunately validated lap time. Fraser's lap time was looking to be decent, but took too much curb on the outside, on the inside there towards the stadium section, as we watched Slash then open up his DRS, headed down towards the end of the middle sector. Slash, yes, he was very competitive last season as well, fighting for a championship, but Slash, unfortunately, this season seems to be on the back foot, seems to be struggling. I'm not sure what's happened to Slash, because I've known him for quite a long time. I've commentated over him in the last, a few esports events we've done so far, so this is not the Slash I know. On board with ILT Phil as he locks up going down towards turn number 1 here and goes through turn number 3. So Phil, unfortunately, he's on his out lap, so it doesn't matter. So apologies about that. He was on his out lap, but Fraser straight away on his out lap as well. So despite making a mistake, Fraser goes out immediately. And with the track being so short, you've got plenty of opportunities to do more lap times around here, maybe 4 more. It's not a long track, so making a mistake is around here. It's not as big as detrimental. It is obviously effective, but obviously not as detrimental as other tracks where it is so long, and therefore you only have a few runs. So you've got a bit of cards to play here in terms of making mistakes. But here we go then, on board with the Aston Martin of Fraser once again, the man that won the Singapore Grand Prix after a fantastic drive. He led throughout the whole race, literally never looked back, as the DRS then is wide open for Fraser. Fraser, what can he do in the championship now? Because he's had a few better results than his teammate. It's fluctuated between first and second with the results as well between Fraser and Finley. one race it goes well for the other, next race it goes well for the other one, vice versa. So both Aston Martins haven't been really that close in terms of finishing in the order, but back in the Austrian Grand Prix they had a 1-2, didn't they? With Finley and Fraser, they both had a 1-2 after Finley was hunted down on the last lap. Then last lap chaos erupted in Austria, where we saw multiple cars spin off and hit each other and go for the gravel as well. Despite Finley being first on the last lap, he was able to keep ahead of the guys behind, challenging him for first place despite having the 3 DRS zones. On board with the Aston Martin now are Fraser as he heads down towards the right hander. You can see him using a lot of curb on the edge of there. Let's see, how does he take the stadium session? He turns the car in very nicely, this time does not invalidate. I really hate that part of the track as well because it's so awkward. Well, so awkward for me because sometimes the front end doesn't really line up as Fraser goes quickest with a 13.0. What a mega lap time there from Fraser as we see Jensen then in the RB as he makes his way now towards this middle sector we go. Taking it flat out of course, we saw Alex Albon and Oliver Behrman make contact last season when I think Oliver Behrman was driving for Ferrari, but Jensen unfortunately invalidates on the entry towards that corner, not on the exit. You can definitely tell that a lot of people are abusing the track limits as you want to do, trying to gain the maximum amount of lap times. We've got plenty of people out there on their flying laps. ETA, Lawrence sliding towards the exit of turn 3, unfortunately. So that lap time there will be ruined. I think he'll be down in the first sector, as he is down by a tenth of a second. But I'm surprised because he's still going. What's happened there? Oh, nothing's happened. So I just dropped my controller and it changed to somebody else. So I thought he left the session, but no, he hasn't. But look at the gaps between Nico and Lawrence. They're separated by a few hundredths of a second there, or thousands, shall I say. 5,000 separating Nico and Lawrence. On board with Nico Rosberg as he now flies through the middle centre as ETA Lawrence gets out of the way. Nico is up, but unfortunately he has invalidated there, so invalidation has cost him as his teammates. And we've got Alex coming down towards this right-hander. He goes. Let's see how he does as we head down towards turn 13. Lucas goes up into P2 in the RB, and it's an Aston Martin 1-2. Finley is up into second place. Great lap time there from the Brits as here comes Alex towards the line. Alex goes up into P4 with a 1:13.195. Great lap time indeed with a 195. Swifty says Jensen, Rafi and Phil fan club. Well, I know Phil, I know Jensen, but I don't know Rafi. I've known Jensen for years. I've known Phil for quite a long time. We used to play Among Us. We used to league race against each other, etc. and commentate. So yeah, we've been fairly good friends across the years, as Zane unfortunately invalidated. So does Christian. So both McLarens on the back foot with their second lap times as they have invalidated. This track is prone to invalidations. You'll see a lot of people make mistakes here and there, but it's all about who can stick with the pressure. It's all about who can be so precise as well in these corners, no matter where you are on the track. We've got a Slash coming towards in the first sector, but a second down. Diogo Silva back in the Ferrari as he goes out wide. Surprisingly, does not invalidate there, so he gets away with it very well indeed as we continue on board with the Ferrari driver. Alex Marciano is in P4 for the time being. Last week's pole sitter was Fraser, and this week Fraser is first place once again then. Apologies if you don't hear me speak fluently because I do unfortunately have a cold and I have a sore throat as well, so I'm trying. Oh, look at that. Can you see P12 and P13? They've set the exact same lap time, Slash and M. Sapala, so that's so close between those guys. On board back with the Ferrari, but unfortunately, he has invalidated that lap time. So here comes the two newbies for F2. Jensen did say to me that he thinks he can get to F2, but he got to F2 quicker than he thought he did. As we ran on board with ILT Fields and hasn't set a lap time just yet. The German on his way now towards turn 4 we go. Let's see how he takes it. Very nice indeed. Coming towards the double hander as well. Clipping the apexes. Leans on the curb. Gets back on the throttle as well as we head down towards turn 8. Let's see how he takes it. It's so incredible to see, well, obviously on this game, how much speed you could take through the corners. It's just incredible indeed to see how the cars can manage it, but obviously in actual Formula 1 you don't really see that kind of speed as we now go towards turn 12 and turn 13. For me personally, this stadium section here is what's quite difficult because you need to slow the car down, making sure you hit the apexes, making sure you get the throttle at the right time, braking traction, Here comes Phil towards the line. What's the German going to do? The German only goes P14 ahead of Diogo Silva then, so only 14th place. However, Jensen is currently on a flying lap in the Racing Bull. He's had multiple race wins in F4. Let's see how he does on his attempt. We'll stay on board with Jensen for the time being, give a bit of spotlight as we now ride through the blood set. It's just incredible indeed to see how the change of direction of those cars as well. I remember back in 2021 where I think Sergio Perez went off the track there and it compromised Verstappen as well, because I think in 2021 it was the Mercedes 1-2 in qualifying. Then in the race, I think that both Mercedes had poor starts, including Bottas. Bottas got spun around by Ricciardo. Then it was a Red Bull 1-3. Verstappen finished in first place and Perez was third. Here comes Jensen towards the line. What's going to be for the RB8? Do you know what? How close is that between first down towards what? 10th? Super fine margins around this difficult racetrack as well, so that's so close between all these guys. Only a few hundredths or a tenth can catapult you up the order as we see more people then on their outlaps to see what they can do. Here comes ETA Lawrence now as he makes his way towards the line. What can he do? The Dutchman goes quickest. He goes quickest with a 30.067, and that is fine margins, but Finley is improving in the middle sector. His teammate is elsewhere on the track. Is Fraser or Finley? Sorry, I get confused between those two, but I shouldn't do because Finley, I know him because I was in an esports team with him. Here comes Fraser towards the line. It's going to be a 12.8, the first driver in the 12s. What a great lap time indeed there from Fraser as he raised the bar. Once again, we've got Lucas in the Racing Bull. He's up by a few hundredths of a second. Van goes P2 as well. This is great resurgence from Red Bull in the last few races too, because they have been struggling at Red Bull, but the results are coming in as well between Nico Rosberg and Van. Despite picking up a penalty towards the last stages at the Singapore Grand Prix, both of them showing some great race pace as well. So let's see if they can keep it up as we ride on board with Alex Marciano in the Ferrari then as he makes his way towards the end of the first set, up by a few hundreds as well. There's a Haas right behind as well to see how he does on a flying lap. Christian in the McLaren goes up into P5, has a massive wobble on going out of turn 3 there, takes too much curb. But back on board with the Ferrari driver of Alex Marciano as well. There is 5 minutes left to go in this qualifying sessions, and so far it is Fraser and Finley. Oh my goodness, look at that, first and second separated by 1/1000th of a second there. Fine margins between those two. The two Aston Martin championship leaders, first and a second, can you believe it? Separated by 1/1000th of a second as well. So I can't believe the margins are so fine tuned between all these drivers. Who was I on board with at the time? I was on board with somebody before I flicked off on. Was it Diogo Silva? It must have been. There he is then, Diogo Silva in the Ferrari. Let's see then how he does on a flying lap. Somebody else has just moved up the order. I think it was Garocci in P4. Yes, he has then. So the Williams driver pops himself into P4 just ahead of Lawrence there in 5th place. Evanai goes up into P6 in Mercedes on board with the Ferrari driver of Diogo Silva trying to hook up the final corners. And let's see then, where can he go in the Ferrari? Let's see. It's only P16 there. So disappointing pace so far from the Ferrari driver, as majority of drivers then are back in the pit lane. And let's see then what they do on their final attempts. There is 4 minutes left to go in the session. Nico Rosberg, ILT Phil have came out very quickly as well, very early in comparison to what they usually go out to, because sometimes drivers like to go out early just in case they've had a day on the first lap. They've always got the second lap to do it. Depends if you have the fuel. But if you're a very confident driver who you know that can hook up laps very nicely indeed and make no mistakes on your final attempts despite the pressure soaking up, then you can go out there at the very final stages for the track at its best. But here comes Nico as we ride on board with the Red Bull driver down towards turn 1, 2 and 3, which follows immediately. As you can see, the back of the car wanted to step out on him going down towards turn 2, took a lot of curve, didn't he? As we now go down towards turn 4, let's see if he's up or down. He is currently up by 800ths of a second there. Let's see then how he does throughout this lap. I'm going to go on board with him because we can see what Nico is actually doing as his throttle inputs, the braking, the carrying the speed, etc. So let's see how Nico does on a flying lap around here. Oh, look at that, carrying the speed through, using the curves very nicely indeed. Sometimes, if you're not precise with the curbs in this sector or anywhere actually, down towards turn 1, towards turn 3, if you take the wrong amount of curb, you can find yourself spinning out. Unfortunately, as Fernando Alonso did in qualifying, I think, last season. As we see, Nico now approaching very widely towards turn 13, hook up the apex as he has a bit of a hesitant moment going down towards there. But here comes Nico then out of the final few corners. The Red Bull driver will go up into P4. It's an Aston Martin 1-2. It's a Red Bull 3 and 4 then. So the top four then beyond with their teammates as we see the drivers then make their way out of the pit lane, and we'll see what everybody else can do. So here comes Phil, the German driver, down in 17th place with a 13.6. Can he find an improvement to try and match the boys at the top end of the field? I'm pretty sure ILT will be very happy to see one of their drivers up towards turn 2. Who's that, by the way? That's Nico, I dare say. It is Nico. So Nico there, struggling out of turn 3, not quite sure what happened to him, whether he meant it or not, but luckily it is not a van, because if it was a van, his tyres would be wrecked, because obviously on your outlaps you want to protect the tyre as much as you can, making sure you don't take too much weight out of them, as Phil has a bit of a slide out of turn 7 as we head down towards turn 8 we go, as he carries the speed through 6th gear. This track, mixed opinions for me, because in qualifying it can be very nice indeed. It's a fast flowing circuit, but in the race it can be so difficult because you're in the dirty air somebody and your tyres start to wear out as well. I think it is a one-stop strategy around here. I don't see the reason for it being a two-stop. Of course I know it's a one-stop because I've done one-stops before as well. Here comes Phil as he rides the curves, butts over them as he makes his way now towards the final few corners of this racetrack. Here comes Phil now to cut the beam. Let's see where he goes. Oh, it's only P16 unfortunately for him. He did 2 laps on those sets of soft compound tyres as well. Christian up into P9 in the McLaren. I believe he's going for his final few laps. But here we are then, dying stages of qualifying. Ran on board with the van there in the Red Bull. Let's see what the Red Bull driver can do, because Red Bull looking very strong so far. But what's going on there? Is the van on a lap time? It looks like he's driving AI mode. Is he? That looks to me like it's AI mode. And unfortunately, his lap time is ruined. Let's see the first sector. Oh yeah, 6/10 down. So unfortunately, something's happened to Ivan, whether he's lagging out the session, as Nico's retired in the pit lane then. So I think both Red Bulls are done, but we couldn't quite see what happened to Ivan. It's Aston Martin 1-2, but which one of these Aston Martins is going to be first towards the end of qualifying? We're going to go round on Bob Finley as he's further up the road, as he's looking to try and take turn 4 now. Let's see, he's up by a 1/10 of a second there, so already finding time in the first sector. What about Fraser? He's now ready to hit the benchmark in towards the end of the first sector. Let's see what he can do. It's going to be 1400s down in the first sector, so advantage Finley in the first sector as Finley absolutely flies, takes the curbs very nicely. This man used to be a Versio, now he's transferred over to CPI. The DRS wide open as he's running out of battery. His middle sector is 900ths of a second, almost a 10th in hand as well. So can he keep it nice and tidy in the final sector? Oh, massive slide, but still controls the drift there as he still makes the apex as we head towards the final few corners here. Let's see, can Finley take pole? And he's about to make his way towards the line. What's it going to be? It is! It's pole! And he extends the margin by a few hundredths of a second, but Fraser is down in the middle sector, 200s down, as he makes his way now out of the final corner. Can Fraser take pole? He can't. He stays at P2. He didn't even improve, did he, on his final runs, as majority of drivers are not improving so far, as ETA Lawrence unfortunately invalidates in the middle sector there, so that's his lap time ruined as he's involved in the championship fight. Slash towards the line, stays P16 unfortunately. Sorry about that, bit of a story there, but we'll get over it, as it's an Aston Martin 1-2 and a Red Bull 3 and 4 with ETA Lawrence in 5th place. So good stuff indeed, as Rafi in P7 there. Apologies if I do say your name wrong, but the Haas driver is in P7 there, so ETA will be happy because it's his debut. Look at that, both of them have set the exact same lap time as well. Can you believe it? And 3,000 separates him and Lawrence too. So it's incredible to see how these drivers set the exact same lap time, if not being very close to a 1/10 of a second. So Red Bull then, with a van in P3, they'll be very happy to the second row of the grid. So it is a 800 metre dash down towards turn number 1. So maybe Red Bull in P3 and P4 have the advantage, but it doesn't always seem to be like that, because first place, sometimes it's not always the case where first place get outdragged. Sometimes, I don't know, it's just weird the way it goes, like down towards turn number 1. Sometimes Aston Martin, I think they'll have the advantage going down towards turn number 1. Didn't make sense there, so I'll explain later, but it is an Aston Martin 1-2 with Finley and Fraser first and second, Ivan and Nico P3 and P4, both Red Bulls lined up on the second row of the grid. Lawrence in 5th place ahead of Karachi P6, Rafi, the German in P7 ahead of Lucas, Christian P9, Evan 9 P10, Alex Marciano in P11 ahead of Jensen R, Sapala goes P13 ahead of Tom, the Zane 15th ahead of Slash, Phil, Diogo Silva and Hazara, who we see qualify at the back of the field. And that's not good for Hazara because he's currently 9 points away in the championship, is Hazara. So his championship aspirations might be a bit difficult starting from the back of the field. Tropic says 3 drivers promoted from F4 in the same season. Yeah. Oh, same season. I agree, but it's currently Rafi who holds the advantage in P7, and so let's see how Rafi does from F4. We know Jensen is a multiple race winner as well in F4, so let's see how he does, although he does qualify further down the field than he would have wanted, but it's all part of the learning process as well. F4, I think, has been cancelled, if I've heard correctly. F1 will be on shortly as well, but stay tuned for the Formula 2 race. I cannot wait to see what happened. Yeah, I raced with all 3 this season. They were cooking us, lol. Yeah, they are very quick. I've raced with Phil, I've raced with Jensen, and multiple people. They are super quick. I couldn't even keep up with them, but I wonder how they will do here in F2. IRT Phil's very quick, but he makes a few mistakes now and then. I want to make him. Oh no formation laps. We're about to get racing underway very shortly. Then is a jump start from 2 people. Fraser has got a drive through penalty. No, sorry about that. I completely forgot. Ignore that. Excuse me, because there was a lobby restart for the first time, so just don't just forget I said that. But anyways, all these drivers then are going to retire from this Grand Prix. I can't believe I forgot, because every single race I know that there is a lobby restart or lobby reset, but whatever you want to call it. But yeah, apologies about that one. I got to it. I got very excited very quickly indeed. Right then, so we can take a bit of a breather and reflect what's gone off during the season, because season review for me, I thought that the Saubers had the advantage towards the start of the season because they were looking very strong, but not to be, because they have been lacking Sauber recently in the last few races. A bit of a downer so far, especially Hazara, who've been lacking pace, and Lawrence as well. So we know Hazara and Lawrence don't really work well together. I've seen they've had a few arguments in the chat as well, so yeah, I think a bit of teamwork needs to be played here as well, especially for Hazara's sake, who's third in the championship, but Hazara does have a qualifying ban. What a time to have a qualifying ban, with 2 races left to go, and you're fighting for a championship as well. So Hazara will be looking back thinking that the qualifying ban potentially may have cost him the championship as well. But every single driver so far this season had the ups and downs, because it's not been plain sailing for at least one driver. The consistency is key. At the same time, though, not every single driver's had solid results every single race. But Finley so far has been an absolute flyer. He's had 2 wins this season as well, 1 in Belgium, 1 in Austria. He scored a podium back in the British GP from starting, I think, outside the top 10. And the start of the season, I think the cold started to get to me. Just seen the start. Yep, the cold is starting to get to me. I do have a sore throat, so if you do hear me not scream, but if you do hear me voice crack or whatever, bear with me. Or if you hear me lose my voice, just bear with me. This is not my 100%, this is not my 100% style, unfortunately, but I'm trying my absolute best as well. I drank coffee, I've put stuff up my nose. Yes, the legal stuff, not the illegal stuff. But yeah, I've tried my absolute best to try and minimise the damage. I've taken smoothers as well, or soothers, whatever you want to call them in the UK. But anyways, back towards what I was saying. So Finley leads the championship after a very bad start because he had a DNF back in Bahrain. He finished in 15th back in Brazil. But after that, the white stick, not the white powder. Yep, the white stick indeed. So that's what people do when they take up the nose as well. Not the white powder, of course. I'm not doing anything illegal. Only on night outs though. No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking. But yeah, Finley DNF in the first race, 15th in the second race, and after that he scored 4 podiums in a row and finished in 4th place in Singapore after challenging the conditions in the rain as well. Fraser, well, he he had a quiet start to the season. It got better and better for him as well. The consistent results and other people's mistakes promoted him up the order as well. As he finished second in Brazil after a great race, challenging the likes of Christian as well, and also Tallers in that race. Tallers unfortunately hasn't appeared for the last 2 races either. But round 7 is when Fraser got his first win of the season as well. So Fraser picked his first win up in round 7. And it was a fantastic controlled drive as well, because he had to manage the wet conditions and also towards the end survive a safety car that came out very late as well during that Grand Prix. And it was a 5-lap shootout with the soft compound tyres being attached to the cars as well. But I don't know, Hazard and P3, looking at paper, look at these results have been absolutely incredible, but you can see him where he's been his weakest as well. Tracks like Austria as well, where he got promoted backwards due to contact and fell down the order, and also Brazil and China as well, where he barged his way through from having bad qualifying. So no, Hazard is not much of a qualifier, but when he does qualify, he does a fantastic job. I think, like me, where we find our when race pace is much better than quality, because something about qualifying where we seem to struggle, but in the race we seem to come back to the field. Back in China as well, Hazard did struggle in China in qualifying, but he really did make progress, steady progress, to make his way back up through the field as well, to claim P3 towards the end of the Grand Prix. He's only had 1 win so far, Hazard, and that's back in the British GP, defending from Finley at the time, after challenging Lawrence and Fraser as well. Fraser dropped down the order as well after a difficult start to the race in Silverstone. But Red Bull, like I said, have been on a charge so far, and Ivan unfortunately lost the podium due to a penalty towards in the Grand Prix. He was running in P3 majority of it until that penalty just set him backwards and missed out slightly. But Nico and Ivan, both in Red Bull, yes, they've had like not good results this season. They finished outside the top 10 majority of the times this season, including Nico. But recently, back in Silverstone and Singapore, scores pretty decent results as well so far. But this is anybody's game to play for, because at the top is not separated by much, and we'll see then. My mathematics aren't very good. I did fail maths in school, but passed it in college, so I'm not a very good multitasker either when it comes to like figuring out maths and commentating at the same time. So I'll let somebody else do that, but I'll have to figure out very quickly then. So we get going towards the race, and I cannot wait to see what happens during the Grand Prix as well. Mexico, we can see a lot of trading with DRS as well. It's a high altitude circuit. It is 2,000 meters above sea level as well, which means it's very hot and very condensed as well. The engines overheat, and that's why you see the drivers have a lot of downforce slapped onto their cars as well, because the engine can overheat as well. I remember a lot of retirements back in the 2018 Grand Prix, wasn't it, when majority of the Renault cars, both Renaults, both McLarens and a Red Bull retired from the race because of an engine problem. Only non-Renault retirement in the Grand Prix, because Verstappen won the Grand Prix. Ricciardo took his last pole, I dare say, in 2018 here in Mexico. That was his last pole. He started second, didn't he, on the front row in Monza in the feature race when he went on to win that Grand Prix. But Ricciardo's last pole was here. That unfortunately had the engine DNF. That was like his 8th retirement in with an engine problem. So that was a very unlucky season for Ricciardo. No wonder he left Red Bull. But very strangely, he went to Renault. And Renault was supplying engine to Red Bull as well back in 2018 before they went to Honda the year after, with Toro Rosso and the Red Bull as well. I've not even spoke about the actual real life F1. Do you want to know a fact? I don't actually watch F1 in real life. I just commentate on the game. No, I'm only joking. Of course I watch F1. I'm a massive F1 fan. I'm a Sebastian Vettel fan. And unfortunately, he has left F1. So I'm not quite sure who to support. But Oscar Piastri seems like a very good driver to support, because I like his calm demeanour. He's very cool. He's very calm and collective. He's got the mentality. He's got that killer mentality instinct as well. Where Lando Norris seems to be struggling under pressure as well. I'm not like Sky Sports F1. Don't have British bias. I will say it how it is. So yeah, don't worry about that one. Both Red Bulls did struggle, didn't they, with Verstappen and Tsunoda? But fair play to Yuki Tsunoda, because he finished P9, was it, or 10? I think it was Behrman who finished in 10th place in Bahrain, and Tsunoda in P9. Tsunoda's second race for Red Bull went quite well actually. So good job to him. But back to there's a bit of a change here. Yep, I think we might have another lobby restart. Oh my goodness indeed. I'm not quite sure. Yep, so we're out of the Grand Prix. This is going to be our third restart because somebody has put some people in the wrong places, Nico Rassenberg. Don't. It is very stressful. I have been a lobby host myself, and do you know how stressful it is? Because you've got to put the right drivers in the right place. So I do know what the feeling is like for being a hobby host. I hate being a hobby host, and thank God I don't have to do it because it's so much pressure as well. You've got a lot of drivers saying, make sure the weather's correct, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, or you put me in the wrong place, etc. It is so frustrating. You've got to pay attention at all times being the leader of the host as well. Nico says he is very sorry, especially me. Oh, don't worry about it, Nico, it's fine. It's all good. I've got plenty of time, so it's all good. I know how stressful it can be to be a lobby host, like a commentator. I don't usually get stressed while commentating, but when it comes to like bigger leagues like this, I do get a bit stressed out because you can see the view counter going up and up. So a lot of people are watching, paying attention, and you got to make sure you don't do anything stupid or say anything stupid, which I don't anyway. But yeah. So for the third time in a row, we're going to have another lobby restart. And my heart keeps going. Every time we're about to get going, my heart goes, but it slowly gets back to its normal resting rate. I'm pretty sure the adrenaline in the drivers as well, the hearts go up until they realise it's a lobby restart. So whilst the lobby is being reset once again, let's talk about the Bahrain Grand Prix because we haven't really spoke about that. Well, I haven't spoke about it. But yeah, let's talk about it. So, the Bahrain Grand Prix, Oscar Piastri did a fantastic job, dominated throughout the whole race indeed. Just led the whole Grand Prix, did Oscar Piastri, despite Russell being on soft compound tyres during the, was it first safety car with the clash between Tsunoda and Carlos Sainz? Poor Carlos Sainz, by the way, because Carlos Sainz was running in a good race. What are your thoughts with Alex Jakes? Alex Jakes, he's actually one of my favourite commentators. He inspired me to be... Oh, Alex Gillian. Oh, I don't know, to be disappointed with... I don't know... how do I explain it? Well, let me try and explain it properly. So, I don't really watch... I don't have the time to watch other F1 creators' videos. I will watch it if I have the free time, but I don't really watch it. So... if that's the channel you suggested to me, I'll probably give it a watch. But I used to watch F1 like creators all the time, like years ago. Just watch any F1 like creator. But I don't have the time these days because I don't really care about yeah. I'm not really that bothered anymore. Like watching F1 videos, but I will watch proper F1 videos like the race, etc., or who's the fastest one, etc. Depends if I'm bored or not. But I won't willingly go out my way to watch a creator of like F1. If you watched Quadrant before, I've watched Quadrant as well. That's a very good YouTube channel, but I don't really watch a lot of YouTube channels these days unless I'm listening to music or whatever, or listening back to my commentator to see how I can perform. But yeah, I don't really have an opinion on Alex Gillian because I'm not really I don't really know who he is. I do know who he is, but I'm not quite sure, like, for example, I don't know about his videos that much, etc., as a person, so we'll see. But if you said Alex Jakes, I would have gone on and on and on about it, which I will do. But Alex Jakes is one of my favourite commentators in Formula 1 ever since he stepped into F1 TV. Have you watched Tropic? Yes, I have. But Alex Jakes is one of my favourite commentators indeed. He has been around, since 2014-15 when he did Formula 2. Then got promoted up towards F1 in 2020 and 2021 on Channel 4. And ever since he became the main F1 commentator, I have absolutely loved his comms since then. But here we go, back into the race then, and we'll see what happens going down towards turn number 1. I wonder how the hot drivers' heart race is going, especially the Aston Martin drivers. It's very easy to get caught up in incidents. I definitely think Alex is getting cooked, honestly. Tom97 was cooking all of them in Creator Series. Do you know what? I do need to watch Creator Series because I do like the race, the esports side of it as well, the racing esports side of it. So I do need to watch it. Like, when it comes to F1 esports, like Jarno Otmir, who I think won the championship, didn't he, after Thomas Ronhaar dived down the inside and got himself a disqualification. I did tune in now and then, but every time the Creator Series was on, I couldn't watch it because I had to commentate on that night. I did watch the highlights though towards the later stages when I had the chance. Was it Frederick Rasmussen who made those funny comments about Thomas Ronald's behaviour or something like that, or Thomas got a bit impatient or something? I can't. Do you know what? I need to keep up with esports these days. I really do because I do miss out a lot. As I'm in group chats and Discord servers, etc., where I see a lot of it being discussed and mentioned. But as a commentator myself, you expect me to watch it, don't you? Just watch the season with Tom 97 in it. In Qatar, he spun, disconnected, and he's still caught up. In Canada, he won like 13 seconds. Wow. Seems like a very good driver then, because if I disconnected and spun, I'd stay last. But obviously, other drivers are very good at keeping calm under pressure and getting back up there when necessary. But I can't wait to get this race. How long has Jarno Opmeer been dominating? I'm quite new to F1 esports. Well, I think for a very long time, because I don't know how long exactly, but it must be years now, because he is a very solid driver indeed. I'm not new to it. I've been in the F1 esports scene for like 6-7 years around the community, but I'm not really delved into his results or his statistics. So I know he's been a very quick driver, and I know everyone roots for him. I root for him as well, to be honest, even though I'm not much of a big F1 esports fan, if that makes sense. But I'm pretty sure that we all know that Thomas Ronald needs to sort his racing craft out and attitude as well, because obviously what we saw back in Abu Dhabi in the last few corners wasn't really that great either. But I can't wait to get this race going. We've had about 2 false starts so far, and hopefully this third time lucky, or fourth time lucky if you include qualifying. But yes, we got finally racing here as well. There are the lights on the paddles, 4, 5 lights. And we are underway here at the Mexican Grand Prix. Solid start for Aston Martin, but here comes a van. Is he in the inside of both of them? No, he's not, because he's been boxed in. And the Aston Martins, we go down towards turn number 1 then. It seems that Finley maintains the lead of the Grand Prix. Is a van looking for a move with 3 abreast in the background as we head down towards turn 1 we go. It's an Aston Martin 1-2. Lawrence trying to go on the outside. Has the inside for turn 2 and turn 3 as they remain wheel to wheel out of the corner. This is a van versus Lawrence out of turn 3. And Nico Rosberg's been shuffled into P5. So solid start there from the Aston Martin drivers as we make contact going down into what's turn 4. What's happened to Nico? What's happened there? Oh my goodness, getting shoved left, right and centre as well. That's a van. If van's getting moved around so much here in Mexico, he's been shuffled into P6 then. So a very dreadful start indeed there for the Red Bull driver as he's been pushed into P6. Now push out of the way. What's going on? This must be D6 surely. He's fallen down the order dramatically. He's down to P9, so he must be out of sync already. But here we go then. The Aston Martins lead this Grand Prix. Christian gets a 10-second penalty for 10 places gained already. A 10-second penalty as a van has left the session. Poor van. It must be so frustrating when you've waited for such a long time. As we see Christian Hazara now go side by side. Hazara had a qualifying ban. He's trying to make up lost ground after falling down the order. He stays in P14. 1 Sauber at the back, 1 at the front, and he's hunted down the 2 Aston Martins and the Green Machines in 1st, 2nd and 3rd, with Nico Rosberg in P4, the only Red Bull driver now in 4th place. So we've got a lot of work to do as we see that Hazara and Christian then go side by side once again. And look at the 2 ahead of us, that is Rafi versus Tom. The 2 Germans was side by side, but looks like they ended their fight prematurely as we see the Mercedes driver of Tom up into P11. One-time podium sitter this season is Tom in P11, just outside the top 10 for the time being then, as we see Nico then put the pressure on Lawrence. The last time Nico was this close was at the Austrian Grand Prix, the highest he's ever run so far. And remember what happened in the last lap. He got, unfortunately, pushed off the circuit down at turn 6 and turn 7. But I feel so sorry for Van because this game continues to show why everybody hates it. And you've got to feel sorry for Van because he's waited for such a long time, hasn't he? And unfortunately, it is been ruined. But anyways, here we go on lap 2. The DRS will be enabled then, as we see the cars file through this middle sector. So Finley will be under massive pressure, and we'll see what it's going to be. All bots could drive here with no penalties. But anyways, we see Nico Rosberg rise to the back at ETA Lawrence there. Will he force the pressure? Will he force the move? As we head down the main street, you can see Nico degenerated his ERS. We can see the both Aston Martins swapping there. Here comes Lawrence, he's gaining. And I think Finley has lost a few places as we head down towards turn 1 we go with side by side between Finley and ETA Lawrence indeed. It's so close between those two. Inches separating these two as we get the corner. And look at Nico side by side with Finley as well. Finley has no DRS as we head down towards turn 4. Look at the Williams also get involved as we head down towards turn 4. But the Williams just backs out for the time being then. You can see that Finley was vulnerable because he had no DRS. As we know, go side by side between Nico and ETA Lawrence. We go then between these two is so close as we go wheel to wheel out of turn 6 and turn 7, headed down towards turn 8, and Lawrence puts himself up into P2, but they've broken the DRS then. These two have broken the DRS after battling in the middle sector there. Can ETA Lawrence find his way through? Nico Rassenberg is right behind, but Nico backs out of it, go down towards turn 12. Finley is also defending against Garocci. This is fantastic for Fraser as well because he's broken the DRS as the Mercedes is up to the inside in towards the stadium section. If I can find it, there we go. Oh, there's contact between those two there, between Alex and the Mercedes of Evernay. As we exit the final corner we go. Fraser sets the fastest of the Grand Prix as we see the Mercedes driver Evernay gets almost off the circuit there, but Nico Rassenberg then takes second place away. These guys need to work together in gamesmanship to try and get themselves. Look at this further behind as Lawrence has been pushed down into P5. We've got the Williams up the inside of the Aston Martin, but too far away to make the move. My voice is going already, so I really wish I wasn't ill around here. So it was mainly a desync issue that was disjointed racing. Yeah, it was desync, unfortunately. It wasn't the racing standards. He didn't know where he was. None of them knew where they were. As Tom and Sapala then are going wheel to wheel down towards turn 6 and turn 7. But crucial, this massive overspeed there, massive slide. And the Mercedes has been pushed down into P12 then. So there's a heavy traction zone there. And unfortunately, it's been shuffled down into P12. But crucially, Nico Rassenberg has brought the gap down under a second, so that teamwork or team game by Lawrence and Nico by trading DRS on the straight has brought them back into play, and the gap is under a second again. That's very crucial for this Grand Prix because if you break the DRS, it is so difficult to get yourself back in there, and it's a massive DRS trade from first all the way down to 16th with Phil and Slash on the hard compound tyres. A big DRS train then all the way down this straight. Is there any move changes going down towards turn number 1? We're about to find out now. They all remain in formation for the time being, then just settling into a big rhythm, but off the track goes Finley. Finley outbreaks himself. Off the road he goes in towards turn 1. That's a very costly move indeed because that's his championship aspirations. Unfortunately, going to lose a lot of points here as well as he slots now in to 8th place he goes. Let me get the telemetry up, so there we go then, as Tom gets back ahead of Rafi. The two go side by side. Oh, there's almost contact there between the RB, as we still continue between the Mercedes and the Haas man. This is where Tom lost it last time. He gives the squeeze to the Haas on the outside, but Tom just remains in 11th place for the time being there. So Finley, let's talk about that move down towards turn 1. That's a very costly move indeed. And luckily, his front wing is still intact. Now he's putting the pressure on Lucas ahead of us, but I dare say Finley will bide his time. There is still 30 laps left to go in the Grand Prix, but Finley makes a mistake in towards turn 12, and that allows Zapala to be right step back of his gearbox as well. So a few mistakes being made for Finley as we ride on board with Nico Rassenberg because he is second place in a prime position to overtake the leader of the Grand Prix if he wants to, of course, because some people don't want to go for the lead of the Grand Prix this early, especially the big DRS train. But here comes Nico now with the DRS wide open. Here comes the Williams as well as we make it 3 abreast, almost going down towards turn 1. Gavocci stays in P3, but he's up the inside of Fraser 2 as we go side by side between the Aston Martin versus the Williams. They still continue their battle, but Gavocci gets up into P2 and the Sauber driver of ETA Lawrence takes advantage of Fraser as we have the DRS on board the Sauber driver. The Sauber now places his car into P3 because Fraser got drops from 1st down to 4th. That's the power, that's the disadvantage with no DRS. Remember, there is only one DRS detection point for 2 DRS zones. It's like in Canada as well, where there's only one detection point for 2 DRS zones and other tracks as well. So you be very careful where you are in certain points of the track, and it's very easy to get pushed down the order as well because you've got a whole gaggle of cars right behind with the overspeed and the 2 DRS zones as well. You're just vulnerable, a sitting duck essentially down the straight. You best hope that you save battery up in the middle sector as well. Try and defend if you can. So Nico Rassenberg then takes the lead for the first time this season, and he's got Gavocci right behind as well. Remember, Gavocci and Nico may have slight contact going down in Austria as well on the final few laps of the Grand Prix. They're back together once again, and the Williams driver is poised to take the lead of the Grand Prix. He started down in 6th place, and he's up to 1st place as well. So great move there from the Williams. He's putting the pressure on, and let's see then, can he control this phase of the Grand Prix? We've got Finley and Lucas swapping places there. Lucas gets shown the curb on the outside as Finley just defends for the time being then, as we see the other LP driver of Sapala now looking for a move down the inside in towards turn 4. Late braking between all of them, and let's see which one of these guys can get ahead of who. It is Sapala versus Lucas on the exit. Oh, he's lost the car. Lucas has lost the car, and unfortunately he just seems to lose traction out of turn number 5, I believe that was, and he's fallen down into P15 unfortunately for Lucas, who looks very strong as well towards the start of the season as they all file through in this one big DRS train. In the comment section, who is going to win this Mexican Grand Prix? Because I cannot predict. It is so fine margins, and plus we'll see a lot of changes in the field as well with the power of the DRS. We'll see a lot of swapping places as well, so it's uncertain for the time being who's going to win this Grand Prix. It's a massive DRS train, anything could happen. A lot of people can be shuffled left, right, centre as well. But here we go then on the main straight on lap 8 out of 36 as Garocci continues to lead them away, with Nico and Lawrence right behind with the DRS open. Here comes Nico now on the left hand side. He goes, and let's see if Lawrence takes advantage. He does not take advantage for the time being. He stays in P3. So in the comment section, someone says ETA or Lawrence. I know as a Dutchman, well, I'm not Dutch, sorry, but the Dutchman in P3. Does he have a chance to win it? Because he's won one race so far. That was back at the Bahrain Grand Prix, the very first race of the season. ETA Lawrence never took a victory, never led the race, sorry, throughout the whole race in Bahrain until the final lap in turn 4 where he overtook his teammate Hazara. Hazara from P20 to P13 so far, so not bad from him. As a Van, who fortunately has been disconnected, he's still not here. Van is still not here, that's his AI driving. Oh, what a massive shame there, as Diogo Silva then pitted quite a long time ago. We've missed that, but the Ferrari driver is down into P19. So a dismal race for Diogo Silva. His teammate Alex Marciano had a fantastic race back in Singapore. Is up into P6. Evan is doing a good job so far as well, up into P5 in the Mercedes, as both Mercedes are in the top 10. So NLR will be very happy with that one. But here we go then. It is Nico Rassenberg who leads the way ahead of Garocci in P2. ETA Lawrence as they break out the slipstream, headed down the main straight. DRS wide open for the Williams driver as he looks to retake the lead of the Grand Prix, which he does do. He puts himself back into first as ETA Lawrence there just stays in P3. Maybe, oh, it's a late breaking move, sorry. Well, it's not a move, but later breaks, there we go, as I try to get the words out, but that's the problem with me being ill, unfortunately. But Nico doesn't have DRS on this second straight, but he's still quite far ahead of ETA Lawrence as well. So how's the championship leaders doing? Finley, Fraser and Lawrence and Hazara as well. So Finley, the championship leader, down to P7, may lose the championship lead, with Lawrence or Fraser being in P4 as well. So my mathematics is not very great, so I won't attempt it, but it seems to me that Fraser will get the jump on him, and this should be very close. If it stays like this until the last race, my word, we're going to have a ding-dong battle between the Aston Martin boys for first and the second place, and potentially, well, Hazara's got a lot of work to do in P12. In fact, he's under pressure from Phil. Phil's overtaken it. There it is then, as Phil is up into P12. Hazara's championship aspirations seems to be going down the drain so far in this Grand Prix, but anything could happen, you never know, with the high possibility with safety cars as well. As we see Alex overtake, where is he? So Evan Knight is in the pit lane, so is Jensen. So quite a few people are pitting then to go for the undercut. I was about to mention this as well, because some people who are stuck in a DRS trade like to go for the undercut to try and get themselves ahead of their rivals. So this may trigger some pit stops as well for the rivals, as we see Alex Marciano and Finley. Then Finley puts himself into P5. So essentially Finley is back with his teammate then. I don't think Costina is very happy so far in the comment section. I know your frustration, mate. It is a very frustrating game indeed. I know. But luckily, well, I say luckily, never know if F425 could be better or worse. So once this game does end in May, we move on to F425 and we pray and hope that the bugs, the glitches, etc., the handling model and everything we want and need is much better. But I doubt that. Hopefully the glitches are better. I miss the old DRS failures, but back in 2018 and 2019 when DRS used to fail, and if it stayed open, you were monumentally screwed as well, because I remember my DRS failed and it was stuck open and crashed into the wall because of it. But yes, I do miss those days. We won't see a Jack doing like we did in turn 1 at Suzuka. But somebody's in the pit lane then. So it is a Red Bull and the Williams then. So the leaders have pitted from this race and they probably responded to the undercut threat. So let's see then. Evanai was the first one to pit in that train, and here he is. Will he get the undercut on Nico and Garochi? For those new to F1, undercut means if you pit earlier than your rivals and you have about 1 or 2 laps extra advantage, therefore use the tyre advantage and get ahead of them before they pit. That's what the undercut means. And do they get... Oh, no, they don't actually. They don't get the undercut. Here comes Sao Paulo as well, right behind the Mercedes driver with the DRS wide open as he puts himself into another place. So Van has set the last of the Grand Prix. Is he here? He's still here as well. So despite lagging out, he's still in the session. So both Aston Martins then have seemed to have stayed out there 1 lap later. So one of them is going to have to stay there 1 lap later than the other driver as well. So that's very interesting as both Mercedes to swap places. As Evanai is going side by side. And here comes Jensen then on one Mercedes. Can he take the other? No, he can't. Yeah, don't worry about it, mate. It's all good. We all get frustrated with the game. I am very frustrated myself. And it is very annoying how a multi-million dollar company seems to be messing up the F1 games. It is frustrating, and that's why I don't league race many nowadays. But Fraser is in the pit lane then, so he's one of the 2 Aston Martins to pit as the others elongate their first stint. Probably wanted the tyre life extra for the offset later on in the Grand Prix when they go for the pit lane as well. So Lawrence leads his Grand Prix ahead of Finley. They feel like it's too early to pit so far, but other people have pitted. But when these guys pit, will it pay dividends later on in the Grand Prix having that fresher tyre advantage? Where is Fraser going to rejoin? There is Fraser right behind this pack, unfortunately for him. He's got caught up in some traffic as Gavocci is a P8. I think Ivan is in, but he might still be desynced. Yeah, that could be another suggestion as well. I think Ivan is desynced. There he is, a P16. Is he there? We're not quite sure. But do you remember in the old games where desync was a massive issue? Look at that, you can definitely tell he's desynced. But do you remember in the last game, or was it 2022, where desync was a massive issue and some drivers were in the wrong place at the wrong time? The transponder was saying they were in this place, but on the track they were somewhere else. Oh, that doesn't look like a van driver to me. It definitely looks like desync, but what a shame for a van. And there is Zane right behind as well as he teleports a few meters in front of us as we go back towards the top end of the field then. As Alex Marciano and ETA Lawrence are in the pit lane then, and here comes the Haas of Rafi as well. It's just a very difficult pit lane-ish as well, because you're out there at great speed at the final corner, and it's very easy to lock the rear end up as well and spin. I've seen people who went to the pit lane before and they've locked the rears up and spun the car as Gavocci in P8 or 7 now, or 6, moves up and sets the fast up of the Grand Prix. So the undercut has worked essentially for those guys as well in P5 and P6 to remain in 5th and 6th place for the time being then. So who hasn't pitted? The top 4 of Hazara, Slash, Phil and Finley. We expect 2 of them out of the 4 to stay out longer than the others, because 2 of them are on the hard compound tyres as Nico has a bit of a moment out of turn 3, but it's right to the back in the Garochi, and he puts himself back into P5 ahead of the Williams driver there. But we do pray and hope that the next game is much better as well, because I think all of us have been sick and tired with the way that the game has been recently as well. Every single year we've got something to complain about. EA just doesn't seem to listen to us or Cody's, and we seem to complain about the same things over and over again as well. I haven't played the beta yet, the F1 beta for 25, so I have no idea what that is like. But here we go then, out of turn 12 with Nico following this pack as Finley now pits. And let's see, where will he rejoin? The undercut will be powerful, of course, so I think he might rejoin on the back of this train. What about ETA Lawrence, Alex Marciano, or somewhere along those lines? Maybe even behind Lucas, because the undercut is so powerful. So it looks like Finley might lose loads of track position, but having that offset towards the end, will that help him come back to the field with a better tyre grip? And here comes the Williams then, and here comes the RP driver, Sapala, taking advantage as he goes up into P5 ahead of Nico Rosberg. That is a net P3 for Sapala, but unfortunately he does have a 3-second penalty, which will be detrimental towards his race towards the end as well, as he's the only driver in the field so far to pick up a penalty as he goes defensive. Here comes Nico around the outside. Can he make it stick? He has the inside line going down towards turn number 4. sorry, that's where Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Raikkonen crashed in 2015. But Nico stays ahead for the time being. Then great defending and great attacking as well between those two. As we continue then with Nico in P5, M. Sapalo in P6, Evanai running a decent race in P7, Fraser P8. But where is Finley? Yes, he rejoined behind Lucas. So Finley went from 4th to 5th down towards 15th. It's actually outside the DRS train, but hopefully with the fresher tyres it should bring him back to this DRS train. This is a repeat of what we saw last season here in Mexico with a massive DRS train and all these guys so bunched up together. You won't see this in real life because obviously the aerodynamics of the car, it will get so hot as well. There's so much aero on the car these days. The engine will overheat as well, being this close to people again. Yeah, it's all good, don't worry about it. But anyways, here we go with the DRS wide open once again as we see Nico just playing tactically. You can see that he's in medium non so far, so as you can see, playing the cards very right, making sure he keeps one guy behind and keeping Karachi in front of him with the DRS as well. There is your top three in this Grand Prix. The net race leaders are Phil, Slash and Hazara. They haven't pitted just yet. Hazara go for a long stint on the medium compound tyres. He's the only one on the medium so far in this race. The top two go for a hard stint, or go for a very long stint on the hard compound tyres. Sorry about that, I am coughing in the background, so I'm muting my mic and coughing at the same time, so I don't want you guys to hear me cough my lungs out or have a sore throat, but unfortunately that's the way it goes sometimes. So 20 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. It is the Williams who leads ahead of Nico, and Sapala is in P3. It's great driving from the RP driver who started down, I think, where did he start down? He started down in 6th place, but obviously he's the net race leader of this Grand Prix. He made up quite a few places as well, as we see these guys file through this middle sector. As we now ride on board with the LP driver. Nico is under massive pressure from Sapala and Evanai right behind as well as we go back to the gap to interval. As we see Sapala as Slash and Phil swap places for first and second. Right on board with Nico and Sapala. Let's see what happens going down towards turn 1 there. Nico's derating, and in the background comes Fraser. Fraser is up the inside in towards turn 1. He makes the corner very well. He puts himself into P7 ahead of the Mercedes driver. In the background as well, we can see a few cars scrapping away. A few cars in the wrong places because obviously we've seen the undercut being attempted by other people as Nico gets back up into 4th place in the net lead of the Grand Prix. So Lawrence then is side by side with Jensen. The two go wheel to wheel as Lawrence is on half the better tyres than Jensen is. Lawrence with his fresher hard compound tyres, can he get around the outside? He can, and he puts himself into P9. Very crucial move indeed. He's on the youngest tyres as well. So Lawrence, Alex Marciano, Finley are on the youngest tyres, and let's see then, can they capitalise towards the end of the Grand Prix? But look at that, Evanai is right to the back of Fraser as well, pushed him along in the middle sector. A high-speed game of chess so far, managing the battery, managing the tyres as well, keeping track position, which is very key and crucial around here as well, because it's so difficult to move up in the DRS train unless you have a mighty tyre advantage. But Hazara has pitted then, so almost half the race done on those mini compound tyres as we see first and second go through. That's Phil and Slash. But more importantly, the battle for the net lead of the Grand Prix, which is P3. Sapala does have a 3-second tablet, but here comes the Williams driver. Will Sapala go through as well? Yes, he does, as he puts himself into P4. But can Nico? No, he can't. Unfortunately for Nico, he stays in P5. Plus, he doesn't have DRS either. But the LP goes a bit deeper. Nico goes through again. Nico's back up into 4th with a big mistake from the LP driver. And here comes Fraser as well. He takes him on for P5. And this time, Fraser gets the move done, puts himself to P5, but where's Finley? Finley, interestingly, has a course with that DRS train. There he is, in P14. The gap is 2 seconds then. You can definitely tell that the DRS train is quite powerful, and when you're outside the DRS train, it's just so difficult to get yourself back in there, because the guys are carrying more speed on the straights in comparison to you. But you can make up the time in the corners though, but that is difficult unless you have a massive tyre advantage. So Finley is a bit of a precarious situation right now in P14 after that big mistake as well. So maybe did he pit 1 lap too late or something like that? I'm not quite sure, but he's definitely out of the DRS train. Maybe later on, when the tyres have an effect as well towards the latter stage of the Grand Prix, maybe Finley can close that gap down. The gap is down to 1.4, 1.2. But he will lose it down the straight. So he needs the guys in front of him to battle so hard so he can be brought back into this DRS fight as well. But good stuff indeed then. On the main straight we go once again. And let's see if Fraser makes a move. No, he doesn't, because Nico used the battery. Nico getting closer and closer towards Karachi. Goes side by side with him. He puts himself into P3 and just swoops past with the power of the DRS as well. So Lawrence then is also in P8, one of the drivers handy for the race win as well, in 8th place, but he's stuck behind Evanai and Sapala. can he make his way through the field as well? Let's see then. That's the problem by staying out there later, because when you stay out much later, you find yourself in situations like these. But Lawrence gets good release out of corners, but has to stay behind for the time being then. And that's the problem. People go for undercuts as well, because you find yourself with people you don't expect to be racing. But that's the way it goes sometimes. But the guys do have these guys do have a tyre advantage. Can they catch up? Well, they can catch up obviously with the DRS there, but can they overtake is the question in the DRS train. Keep an eye on Rafi here, maybe a tyre offset to everyone else. Rafi is currently down in P13 as well, so Rafi's got a good tyre offset. There he is actually, in 13th place. And Finley's caught up too, so keep an eye on these two, Rafi and Finley. I think Rafi qualified in 8th place, 7th place. He did. 7th place indeed, but look at the Haas driver right step back of the Mercedes then, but more importantly up into look at this then. Here comes the Williams and here comes Fraser. It's 3 abreast as we head down towards turn 1. Now it goes side by side between Fraser and Karachi, but Fraser a bit late to the brakes there. It's up into P3 and he's on the youngest tyres as well. Here we go then, out of turn 3. Fraser now is the net lead. I can't speak, apologies about that, but let me try that again. Fraser is the net race leader of this Grand Prix, as I finally get my words out here. I think I need a glass of water as well. In fact, I've been drinking water all day because of my throat going all the time. But here we go, side by side, both RB drivers versus the Haas and Mercedes behind. They go at 2 by 2 in the corner, but Jensen wins that battle. But the problem is, though, they're both the DRS from Jensen down to Alex. So I wonder why that these guys in the midfield started to fight in these slow speed corners, but just on the skin of their teeth there, kept up with the DRS and just about there in the DRS range of Alex in P9. As Jensen goes out wide into towards turn 12, that may be an invalidation. Also drifted to the corner, and that gives the opening for the door for Lucas to go through. As we now go side by side in towards the final few corners of this racetrack, Diogo Silva gets himself a 3-second penalty as the two RBs go side by. Look at the Haas in the middle! The Haas in the middle! Almost in contact, the middle of contact! Oh my goodness, there's a big crash! Oh my god, that's Finley as well! Finley is involved in the contact. Can you believe it? Massive crash, a very bizarre crash indeed on the straight as Tom is out of the Grand Prix. Can you believe what we just saw there? I don't believe it indeed. Oh my goodness me, the safety car has been deployed, and guess what? Slash and Phil in first and second, a blessing in disguise with that safety car, because they can go on to be the compound tyres and take them towards the end without losing too much time. There's a few people picking up a 10-second penalty in the race as well, but I've never seen a crash like that before on the main straight. That's very bizarre indeed. So the Haas went in the middle there, and I think they lost control and slammed into the wall. Let me watch that back. Anyways, I'm going to go get a drink because my throat is going. I've got a very bad throat, so bear with me for the last 16 laps of the Grand Prix. It won't be my best commentary, but I'm just surviving by the thread of a needle. Right everybody, I'm back, and guess what though? Hazard has been promoted up into second place. He pitted 4 laps earlier because obviously he went from mediums to hard, so he takes track position. I think that's very important for his race as well, because I don't think there was no point pitting for Hazard, because what's the point? Because you might as well take track position and see what he could do later on in the Grand Prix in the hard compound tyres. So everybody who was on the hards originally after the first round of stops have gone to the medium compound tyres. Slash in P3, wow. You haven't seen this man in P3 or up there for a very long time. What can he do? IRT Phil, unbelievably, leads this Grand Prix. What a safety car could do after changing the whole trajectory of this Grand Prix. And by the way, thank you very much for the nice comment there in the comment section. Do appreciate that indeed. 15 laps left to go. To be 14 or 13 after this Grand Prix, after the safety car ends then. So I can't wait to see how this phase goes now. We've got a lot of people in different places, and we'll see then a lot of people have been disadvantaged. I dare say ETA Lawrence in P9 has been massively disadvantaged because he was on a better tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix, the offset helping him, and same with Rafi as well. But they've all unfortunately been disadvantaged, and Finley in 16th place. Can you believe it? This is detrimental for his championship for Finley. The championship leader down in 16th place. I can't believe it. Oh, sorry about that. I was supposed to mute myself. You weren't supposed to hear that. But anyways, Fraser in second place might jump Finley as well, and ETA Lawrence might get ahead of him as well. So Finley, a disappointed day here in Mexico. There is only 2 races left to go in the season, and you can't afford to be having mistakes like this. But the damage was done really down at turn number 1, because Finley was in 3rd place or 4th at the time. Then he outbroke himself massively towards turn number 1. So the pressure may have got to him just a little bit there for Finley, but yeah. It's just one of them things, really. Fraser now has got the upper hand in P4. Will Fraser think about the win? Yes, he will. He's in P4. But how much risk is Fraser going to... how much risk is Fraser going to win? Because in P4, let's see how much risk he takes in 4th place, knowing that the championship is on the line, of course, and all the points be gained and all the points be lost. His championship rivals, such as ETA Lawrence and Finley, down in P9 and P16. But Hazara as well. Hazara, this is a big chance for Hazara to get many points on the board as well, to take away from Finley. Maybe not Fraser, because Fraser does have the entire advantage so far in this race, with 14 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. We saw people take them mini-cup power tyres for 10 laps, but obviously you can extend it, because those guys who pitted quite early wanted to get the undercut the guys ahead, because they were so far down the DRS trade. That's why they pitted on lap 10, which is quite earlier than expected. But all these drivers basically on the same set on the mini-cup power tyres, except Hazara. Would he have loved to stay out there a few laps later to go on the hardcore power tyres, a fresh set of hards? But those hards shouldn't be too bad. But the safety car is coming in then towards the end of this lap. RT Phil, who's gone from F4 to F2, is leading the F2 Grand Prix. Now, earlier, I did want to mention that Alex Marciano picked up a 10-second penalty against the Sauber driver of ETA Lawrence. Who was going to win this Grand Prix now? I still believe Fraser has got the advantage to win this Grand Prix. He's a very quick driver. I was judging by his pace. I expected to be up there. But what can RT Phil do leading the Grand Prix? Can he keep calm? Can he keep composed? And off we go then for the safety car restart. It is RT Phil who leads Hazara, who leads Slash in P3, and Fraser in P4 as well. We now head onto the long straight, headed down towards turn 1 we go. And let's see then, is Hazara close to make a move? No, he's not. He stays behind for the time being. Fraser is right behind Slash. Here we go then as we head down towards turn 1, but too far away to make a move so far as well. Looks like they all remain in formation for the time being then, as we see them all go down towards turn 1, towards turn 3. A clean safety car restore, although Jensen has been detached a little bit. He's down to P13, so Jensen is 1.3 seconds away, and Finley is only 50th place. What a horrendous race for Finley. We're looking backwards and think, where did he go wrong? But Nico is so close right behind the Williams driver, but seems to stay behind for the time being then. Only one more race left to go after this, and it looks like if it stays as the way it is, I think Finley, the championship leader, will have a very hard time back in Abu Dhabi to try and gain his points back as well, with one race left to go. It's a short season here, season 39, with only about 9 races as well. That's the problem with short seasons. You can't afford to make any mistakes whatsoever. Maybe for one mistake, but after that, it's just make sure you have your. Going to keep a nice control of the track as well. Make sure you don't make any mistakes. There is 12 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. The DRS is enabled there. Fraser is right behind Slash as we head on the main straight. Then here is the DRS and the battery being used. No DRS for the time being then as we go up into P3. DRS is enabled on the next lap, or the next straight, sorry, but not on this straight, because the DRS detection point was before the finish line, sorry. So that was down to pure straight line speed and the setup as well. But Phil is pulling away from Hazara, and look at this, the championship leaders then, Hazara versus Fraser. This is a big opportunity for Hazara to try and defend against Fraser, but that might be a bit difficult with the tyre balance as well, because Fraser's on better tyres in comparison towards Hazara. So Hazara in a bit of a tricky spot here to try and keep Fraser behind. Fraser's got some mighty pace in the Aston Martin. Hazara goes a bit wide in towards turn 8, where we saw Sebastian Vettel crash in 2015 with that double Ferrari DNF. But the DRS is enabled now for Hazara to keep in tabs with Phil and try and keep Fraser behind. What can Hazara do? Does he have the tools to respond against Fraser? We're about to find out. Can he replenish the attack against the Aston Martin driver? But I dare say the Aston Martin has the bigger upper advantage, and he'll use that advantage when the DRS is opened on the next lap. Slash doing a good job in P4 there, keeping the Williams at bay for the time being. But here we go then with the DRS wide open. Both of them have DRS, but I dare say Hazara is defenceless, unless, of course, he tries to use the battery. Here we go then. Phil gets swamped, and they go with 3 abreast. Phil's into P3, as Hazara versus Fraser. Down towards turn 1 we go. Hazara takes the lead, but here comes Phil. Back down the inside, there's contact with the Haas, and the Red Bull Slash is down into P6 there. So Hazara now leads this Grand Prix, with Fraser in P2. So LT Phil got swamped on the straight there. Oh my goodness, he tried to defend indeed, but he couldn't quite do so. As Nico down the inside of the Williams driver now, side by side, in towards turn 5 and 6 we go. But the Williams just has the advantage. Nico keeping the pressure on by keeping him on the outside, but there's no room there, as he has to relinquish the place and stays in P5 for the time being. And as we flick through in this middle sector, it is Hazara who leads this Grand Prix ahead of Fraser, and Phil is P3. Christian gets himself a 3-second time penalty. He's down in P16, is the McLaren driver. I know Phil is in a party, as Lawrence gets ahead of Alex there for P9 in the stadium session, and here comes the RB, but not quite close enough to make a move. But I know LT Phil is in a party with Sieb and the other people in LT. But Hazara is breaking the slipstream, breaking the DRS, but there's no point, because here comes Fraser and here comes Phil with the battery and the DRS, and Phil goes up into P2 as he goes side by side with Fraser as we head down towards the first corner. It looks like Fraser has the advantage, but Phil is sticking the outside there, but no, he can't anymore. Fraser takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Slash and Evernight out of turn 3, wheel to wheel. Let's see which one of these two get ahead. It seems that the Mercedes driver has better drive, and Slash keeps falling down the order, unfortunately. Here comes the Sauber up the inside, so late, but keeps it under control. And now Slash is side by side with the RP driver. You can definitely tell that ETA Lawrence is desperate to get past after being disadvantaged by the second safety car. And here, oh, there's contact in the wall, and Haas as well goes to the wall again. Oh my goodness me, it goes from bad to worse. Slash has retired on the track, unfortunately, and the safety car has been deployed again. Oh, so a second interruption during this Grand Prix, and a safety car has been deployed because Slash unfortunately has retired in the wall, and that's this race done and dusted, because it went from here to 0 in the matter of a few laps there, and to be absolutely devastated with that one. So the second time the safety car has neutralised this race, as it's Fraser who leads this Grand Prix ahead of Phil. Hazara is still in P3. Hazara can gain big points in Finley, but maybe Fraser might be a bit of a stretch with those mini compound tyres being relatively new, as Jensen is in the pit lane. And I didn't expect nobody to pit, other than guys at the back of the field. This race has definitely been chaotic indeed. 2 safety cars around here at the Mexican Grand Prix. And yeah, nobody's pitted. I don't expect nobody to pit, because what's the point? I think nobody has a new set of medium compound tyres, and the softs, I don't think the soft compound tyres are worthwhile going on to, because the soft compound tyres degrade very quickly. And even though it's about, what, 8 laps to go, 9 laps to go, you think that the soft compound tyres, on paper, you think, oh, only 8 laps, the soft can make it, but the soft compound tyres degrade heavily, and I don't think you can make them last towards the end. I get what you're saying. The people at the back, why haven't they gone for the soft compound tyres? Jensen has. Jensen's gone for a brand new set of softs. And I do forget as well, because do you know how it's a lobby restart as well? You're into a brand new session, you get a brand new set of softs, you get 3 new sets of soft compound tyres. So I do forget that. And Jensen's the only one on the soft compound tyres. It is worth the risk at the back of the field, but yeah, I didn't expect none of the guys to do it at the top end of the field. So it's the mediums towards the end for majority of these guys, whilst Hazara is on the hard compound tyres. Remember, Hazara went quite late on the stint on the medium compound tyres and had to go from mediums to hards. He kept up with ILT Phil very nicely, and Van's AI pitted him from lap 6 old mids to 12 lap old hards. Oh my goodness me. Van, is he still here, by the way? Is Van actually here in the session? Because if he is, fair play to the man, because if it was me, I would have quit by now. But Ivan's done a good job to try and keep calm and stay in the session. It's just a shame that the internet for him is very dodgy indeed. Oh, what a shame for a van in 17th place there, who qualified in P3, scored some decent results back at Singapore and Silverstone, but unfortunately, ever since the first lap, got pushed backwards with that lag and the desync he had. So Diogo Surfer has pitted onto a new set of medium compound tyres. There's another soft, the medium, and I wonder, has he used the mediums before? Yeah, so he's used a set of mediums before, but only one lap it says. So those medium compound tyres, only one lap old. He has been on them for just one lap indeed. So they are, I think they're in good condition. Watch out for him maybe later towards the end of stages. So 17 drivers that remain in this race. Tom had a big crash on the main straight, and Slash had a massive one down at turn number 7 as well. So Fraser leads this Grand Prix. This is a golden opportunity for Fraser to take the championship lead, heading towards the final race in Abu Dhabi. And can Fraser, despite winning one Grand Prix earlier in the season back in Singapore, he's won one race, can he get his second here in Mexico? Can it be 2 in a row for the Brits in the Aston Martin? And Phil, can Phil get a podium here on his debut for F2? If he can, what a phenomenal performance there from ILT Phil. He's kept out of trouble so far, but the trouble may be coming shortly. The cavalry may be coming shortly. It's going to be a sprint race towards the end of the Grand Prix, and let's see what happens then. Finley made his way through very quickly as well. Went from 4th to 1st in a matter of a few laps as well. So here we go. Fraser will control the pace. And let's see when he decides to go. So I think he's gone right. No, he hasn't. He's still creeping and crawling before he hits the hammer. And he's dropped the hammer and off he goes then. So here we go for the safety car restart. You can see that Phil is right at the back of Fraser. So let's see what happens going down towards turn 1. The EOS is being used. Can Phil take the lead of the Grand Prix? Here comes Azara with the battery. He's overtaking Phil. Next is Finley. Here he is then, side by side, going down towards turn 1. It's a late set. It's 3 abreast in towards turn 1. Phil gets pushed out wide as he goes into P3, as Fraser still leads the Grand Prix despite being under massive pressure from Hazara and ILT Phil behind. But can Hazara put pressure on Fraser in front of him? No, he can't for the time being, as here comes Nico down the inside. It's 3 abreast. Can they make it unscathed? Yes, they can. I can't believe that. I thought one of them was bouncing off the track or in a spin, but they kept it unscathed. But this is a battle for the podium. Everybody's getting desperate, just like in Austria. Everybody got desperate there, and it caused a massive pile-up as well. As you can see, Lawrence versus Apollo. Oh, there's contact, and that's going to be big for the championship. And he gets a 3-second time penalty as well. Oh, massive contact there between those guys as they fall down the order. Lawrence as Apollo going side by side. In a place you don't want to go side by side. But he's going to make the move again in towards turn 12. Can he make it stick this time? He can, as he puts himself into P12. But he's so far away, and his teammate is the one that could win this Grand Prix. Maybe win the Grand Prix, depends if Fraser can break the DRS, if he can. DRS is enabled then, not on this DRS straight, but Phil is under massive pressure. You can see the Williams gaining there with the extra battery as he puts himself into P3. And can Nico follow through too? Let's have a look to see if Nico follows through in towards turn 1. There's contact between the Dutchman and the German there, but let's see in towards turn 2 and turn 3. They're so close once again, as Phil has the outside line, just managed to hold on to P4 there, keeps the Red Bull at bay, but for how much long? Because Nico's on the prowl. Nico, who was challenging for the lead, but down he is, and he goes in towards turn 4. It's another late turn there for Nico, but Phil has him covered for the time being. But the longer they fight, the big chance they'll lose the DRS towards Gavocci in P3, and in fact they've lost the DRS now towards third place. Maybe Nico's antics hasn't worked there, and maybe has cost himself to get up to third place. But the top 3 then, let's see what happens, because Gavocci hasn't won a Grand Prix yet this season. So the only one in the top 3 not to win just yet this season. He's not been in the podium either. The DSQ back in Austria after his contact with the Mercedes in towards turn number 1. He's got a disqualifier back in Austria, but we'll see if he can get the podium here tonight. He has a big chance of winning. Hazara is still in the DRS range of Fraser. Despite being on the hard compound tyres, Hazara has done a mega job to keep up with Fraser, and the Rebel and Nico now puts himself into P4 ahead of Phil, who is vulnerable, has no DRS, and here comes Alex now, taking advantage of the RP driver as we head down towards turn 1. There's contact between those two, as Evanai looking for a way past, as we can see Lucas up the inside into towards turn 2 and turn 3, but nothing doing there. He stays behind for the time being then. This is massive for the championship. Hazara started down in 19th place, also known as last place. The safety car has benefited him. He's up into P2, potentially challenging for the lead of the Grand Prix. He's sliding through turn 6 and turn 7. His hard compound tyre should be in good shape, maybe to offset. It's helping Hazara to keep up towards Fraser. The medium compound tyre should be still in good shape, but the P performance hasn't just ended just yet for the medium compound tyres. Lucas gets a 3-second penalty. I was very scared that it was Hazara or Fraser, but can Hazara, from the back of the field, win the Grand Prix or be in the podium at least? And that would be very good for his championship, because I thought the championship was over for Hazara, but it's not over till it's over just yet. But for Finley, it's going to be very hard work in Abu Dhabi, try and regain the championship lead. I have no idea what the championship's like because my mathematics aren't very good. But the DRS is enabled then. It's his lap 32 out of 36, and Hazara has used the battery to keep the Williams at bay and keep himself in touching distance of Fraser, ready for the last lap attack, I believe, on the Aston Martin. Let's see how Hazara plays this. Will he use the Fraser for DRS until the last couple of laps when he makes his move? And what about the Williams as well? Can he keep the Williams at bay? And Nico Rosberg is also in the DRS range of Karachi, so it's a big DRS train once again. And this is going to be super tight towards in the Grand Prix. I have no idea who's going to win, because I thought for one moment ETA Lawrence had a big chance of winning, but that safety car really dented his race and put him on the back foot. And down into P13 he goes as well, because he was doing the offset strategy by going on the hard. Oh, Phil gets a 3-second attack penalty as well. And this is the moment as well where the drivers start to get tired and start to get a bit desperate as well, trying to find the limits of the track, maybe pushing the boundaries of the racetrack as well, and therefore picking up more penalties and more warnings along the way. So it's all about as well who can pick up the least amount of warnings. It is so difficult because the intensity of this race as well is so high, just like the above sea level as well, and the engine temperatures are so high as well. But here we go, the DRS wide open once again, and we'll see what happens going down towards turn 1, because Ferracci needs to force Hazara into a move. He's stuck in P3, and let's see what happens going down towards turn 1. This is great for Hazara if he can stay behind the Aston Martin as he gets super close, but here comes the Williams on the outside, massive lock up, and here comes Nico. Looks to take advantage, but he can't quite do so, swapping lines to get a better exit, better run out of turn 2 and turn 3. Now the DRS is enabled for all three of them as we head down towards turn 4 we go. Can Nico make a move? Here comes Hazara on Fraser. Here comes the Williams as well, side by side between these two. And let's see what happens going down towards turn 5 here. It looks like Fraser with a better run out of turn 4 gets ahead for the time being, but here comes the Williams up the inside in towards turn 6. But Hazara keeps track position crucially in P2 as well. We know that gamemanship is involved because Hazara, he's trying to keep the DRS on the back of Fraser at the same time. It's so difficult because he's got guys behind him forced him to overtake Fraser. That's the problem when you're P2 and P3. It's just so difficult to know when to plan your overtakes. And look at that, Hazara closed the DRS knowing he doesn't want to go for the move just yet. Oh, here comes Nico alongside him in towards turn 13 we go. It's so close between these two, side by side in the slow speed corners, but Kavachi goes off the circuit there. Maybe gets a 3-second penalty for that incident. But this is so close indeed. Lap 34 out of 36. There is 3 laps left to go in this race, and Hazara then with the DRS wide open again. Nico looks like he's the aggressor. Alex Marciano right behind Evan I. He goes side by side with him on the main straight as we head down towards turn 1. No moves being made just yet. Heading down towards the breakers up, but the Mercedes and the Ferrari are going side by side in towards turn 2 and turn 3. There's a bit of contact between those two as Alex Marciano stays in P5 for the time being, gets ahead of Evan I as Phil is dropped down the order, but back towards the battle for the lead of the Grand Prix as we see Hazara not going to go for the move just yet. He's keeping the Williams at bay, knowing that the DRS will be handy towards the last few laps. As Hazara went up the inside, he's almost off the track, and here comes Williams. Here comes the Williams of Karachi now. This is a big opportunity to get himself into P2. The yellow flags in the background, more contact between those two there. Karachi stays in P2. Yes, he does. He's up into second place. This is a big chance for Williams to win the Grand Prix. What happened to Hazara going down towards turn 5, because that move there cost him big time. No DRS for the Williams indeed. That could help Fraser in the last stages, but Nico defends from Alex Marciano for the time being there. Goes a bit wide out of turn 12 as well, cost him a bit of time, and Evan I is right at the back of him once again. But look at that, the gap from first to second is almost a second there. Can Kavachi get that gap under a second? Can he get DRS on this main street? Let's have a look right now. See the Williams. Yes, he does. So the Williams has his rear wing open. That's bad. Sorry about that, that's bad news for Fraser indeed. But Hazara's gaining and gaining, but I don't think he'll go for overtake just yet, as he stays behind for the time being then. So it's down towards the Williams and the Aston Martin. Which one is going to get their first or second win? Fraser is going for his second win of the season. Kavachi is going for his first podium / first win of the season. And here comes Nico Rosberg. Here comes Azara. Go for the move. It's going to be 3 abreast down towards turn 4. They make contact. Oh my goodness, so close margin between the two. The Williams is boxed in. And Nico's up the inside. We're 3 abreast out of the corner. Heading down towards turn 6. Nico is up the inside of both of them. Hazara's off the track. And Kavachi is well squeezing him. Hazara gets a 3-second time saying Nico Rosberg is up into P2. Can you believe that? We got another change in position there with Nico Rosberg forced their move. There were 3 abreast as well. That was just so chaotic, and Kavachi is right behind Nico as we head down towards the stadium section. We go in towards turn 11, and now Fraser will find himself under massive pressure from Nico right behind as well. My voice is literally going. So after the final 2 corners, we're going to go to the final lap, and we're going to have 4.3 kilometers of racing left. 1 more lap to go. It is between Fraser and Nico Rosberg for the win. Red Bull need these points after a few bad races in the last few races. But here comes Nico Rosberg. Here comes the Williams then, taking on Nico. Nico did not have the DRS on the back. Well, he did not have the ERS, sorry, as he makes contact with turn 1, turn 2 we go. And Nico Rosberg did not have the battery because he was depleting. He used all the deployment down the straight. But this is a big opportunity. Can Fraser defend against Karachi as we head down towards turn 4? It could be a late stand. In towards turn 4 we go. And here comes Nico back around the outside. Has the inside, cuts the corner. And Karachi stays in P2 as well. That was his final chance, I dare say. Oh, more contact. Nico's getting so desperate. He might even lose a podium here. But Hazara does have a 3-second penalty. And Alex does as well in P5. You can definitely tell I'm struggling with my voice there. It is starting to go bit by bit. And can Kavachi somehow find a move? Look at this. This could be last few laps of the Grand Prix. Hectic between these two. As Fraser goes defensive, forcing Kavachi go around the outside. The fireworks go off the background. But that's the last chance for the Williams driver. As here comes Fraser. This man won at the Singapore Grand Prix after immense pressure. He will come across the line again to win here at the Mexican Grand Prix. His second win in a row. And he'll take the championship lead as well. Kavachi finishes in P2. Nico in P3. And Evanai will finish in P4. What a race that was. And it was so great indeed. Well, I really hope for the last race of the season Abu Dhabi I'm not ill, because I was literally struggling to talk towards the last few laps of the Grand Prix, but hopefully I did alright. But there was a few slip-ups now and then, but wow, what a race towards the end indeed. It got very, very chaotic as well, and I wonder how much the stewards will have to get involved as well, because we've seen many moments where some people got pushed off the track as well. 3 abreast never works unless, of course, all 3 drivers acknowledge that the space is required as well, but it's so difficult judging the space when it goes 3 abreast as well. But wow, what a race with Fraser. Fraser, this man kept a level head throughout the whole race. Do you know what? The guys behind, despite having DRS, fought so much amongst themselves. Fraser was the one that capitalised and still won despite being first place. Finley, however, a great drive into P5. That was a fantastic drive because he was out of the top 10 majority of the time, but P5 still a mega result. Zane as well. Zane was quite quiet during the Grand Prix, 15th to 6th. And Rafi on his debut, Hazara finishes in P8 with a disappointing penalty towards the end. And who is the biggest losers? Lawrence as well for the championship is one of the biggest losers. And Nico Rosberg gets his first podium of the season as well. So congratulations towards the Red Bull for their first podium of the season. They tried it in Singapore, but unfortunately Ivan had a penalty towards the end of the Grand Prix. As we now get back in the loading screen. What a race that was, and I can't wait for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Hopefully Logan is back to commentate with me, because that's the usual duo. It is Logan and Indigo, or Jamie, as the F2 commentators. But unfortunately Logan, well, I say unfortunately, but fortunately for Logan, he's commentating for Formula 1 right now. So go over to F1 to watch that race. 1 point between Fraser and Finley goes to the last race. Wow, if that's actually true, we can see, Aston Martin is going to have a mega battle towards the end. CPI need a prep talk. I think Troye, the CPI manager, will have a big talk between Finley and Fraser, because it's going to be a ding-dong battle between those two. It's going to be so intense. 2 teammates in the same esports team going at it for the final race of the final season in Abu Dhabi. Last time we heard that was at Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton in 2016. Wow, I can't wait to see how that goes down to the wire then. So we'll see what happens in Abu Dhabi. But next week, join us for Abu Dhabi for F2 at 7 o'clock. On Monday night, of course, it's me and Logan who will take you away for the F2 commentary for next Monday. We'll see you all later. Go towards F1 and we'll see what happens there as well. So goodbye and good night for now. Enjoy the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix this weekend. Hopefully that'll be a good track like it was in Bahrain last week. And we'll see you all later. Goodbye for now. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening, whatever you're doing.